So I want to make it very, very clear. Trauma recovery isn't about fixing something that's broken. And if you feel broken, I get it, and your feelings are validated. I feel broken a lot sometimes. I find myself talking in this way, and I'm not going to be the positivity police and tell you can't talk to yourself in any way you want. Like, I think it's important to validate how you're feeling. So I think it's important to say, like, I am broken. So there's a disconnection here somewhere. There's a system out of whack in this body. But I can heal and I can rebuild these connections. And even if I am never where I was before the trauma happened or the same as someone else beside me, I have the innate capacity to persevere and move on and live a beautiful life after trauma. And you can. Even people who are literally just vegetables are still living beautiful lives because they have rediscovered their innate capacity for resilience and have rebuilt those neural connections. And not only neural connections, but also rebuilt those connections with themselves, with others, and with the world around them. That's how they're able to start nonprofits and write books. Have you ever seen I've seen paraplegics with books and businesses and doing so much more than I have ever even attempted. And I think that is what I know, actually, that's what inspires me to get better, is seeing people who have been in worse situations than me and they're still doing so much more than me. You know, it's easy to get discouraged by that, or you can let it inspire you. Like, if they can do it, I can do it too. And, you know, sometimes having a little bit of delusional grandiosity in your abilities is a good thing, right? Because everybody else around you is constantly going to doubt you, especially if they know what you've been through. Especially they're going to baby you and coddle you, or dismiss it altogether, pretend like you have no reason to be who you are. So, you know, we are not broken. We can heal and we can live a beautiful life, and we can use these events and other people's experiences as motivation and inspiration to get to our next level. As I've mentioned already, when we experience trauma, it often severs our sense of connection to our bodies, our emotions, and to the people and environment around us. Healing is about gently restoring those lost connections, and this can involve reconnecting with ourselves. So remember what I talked about, dissociation and fragmentation. So reconnecting with all the different parts of ourselves that we maybe have denied, shamed, repressed, suppressed to fit in or to feel safe. Healing invites us to establish a safe and nurturing relationship with ourselves by listening to our body signals, embracing our emotions and not seeing them as enemies, and fostering self-compassion. Through practices like mindfulness, somatic therapies, and grounding exercises, we learn to rebuild our sense of safety within. Reconnecting with others. Trauma often isolates us from others, leading to feelings of loneliness or mistrust. Recovery is about finding safe, supported relationships that offer validation, empathy, and co-regulation. In reconnecting with others, whether through close friendships, community, or therapeutic relationships, we learn that we don't have to navigate this journey alone. We do have people there that get it and that can make us feel seen and heard. Reconnecting with the natural world. Nature has the capacity to soothe, regulate, and restore our nervous system. There are whole fields of science based on this, eco-psychology, eco-somatics, that all are looking at how our nervous system responds to nature. And it just so happens that by spending time in nature, we not only deepen our sense of belonging, but we foster an organic and embodied connection to the world around us, which helps regulate our nervous system. Now, this isn't, of course, going to work for someone who had a trauma out in nature, but bringing nature into your safe environment, like bringing houseplants into your space, animals or pets that you feel comfortable with, all of these things help us to regulate our nervous system. So by understanding this, healing becomes less about eliminating the pain of the past or letting it go and forgetting everything, and more about integrating those experiences into our life and into the narrative that we are living in. We want to integrate them into stories of resilience, growth, and wholeness. If we continue to see ourselves as a broken individual, then we attach ourselves to that identity, and we create narratives and behaviors to adapt to that narrative that we've attached ourselves to. Healing through the body is pretty much bottom up healing, or if you've ever heard that term, or what I call, and constantly saying, and what others are saying, somatic therapy, which means the body. This includes breathwork and movement, and they play a critical role in releasing the stored trauma within our body and helping us bring awareness back to the areas that we've disconnected from. These practices help bridge the gap between mind and body and restoring balance to all of our systems. Trauma is not just a psychological experience, as some may say or some may have believed in the past. It's deeply embedded into our bodies, into our nervous systems. When we endure overwhelming events, our nervous system reacts by storing that unresolved tension, stress, and emotional pain into our tissues, muscles, and fascia. Over time, this stored trauma can lead to physical symptoms such as chronic pain, tension, or fatigue, as well as emotional patterns of anxiety or numbness. Now, after I just said that, I want you to now think about a really traumatic event that you've had, and then think about what it felt like to touch your body afterwards, whether that be rolling on a foam roller or just massage or anything like that. And if you can't remember, just next time you just think about when you do a really intense workout and how sore those muscles are. That is because you've stretched their capacity past its limits, right? Well, the same thing with our nervous system, and it stores in our tissues. And so when we go to get a massage or a foam roll, it's going to be so sensitive. And that's where you can find where you're storing the most trauma in your body. For me, for some reason, it's like under here. And that's also where I store the most fat, my wings. And also like around my hips area. And that is very indicative to all the sexual trauma I've had. So it's like literally from my knees up to like my belly button. When I foam roll those areas, or, therapy ball those areas and massage it out, it is like, it's so painful. It used to be so painful. Now it's a lot easier and I'm able to do it. Now it feels good. But at first it was so painful, and it made me feel sick. Like after I would do it, it would take days for my body to metabolize all the pent up toxins that my muscles were holding, all that excess cortisol and adrenaline and everything like that. And so my body would be exhausted for days afterwards because it was trying to process all that now. All that stuff that we've stuffed down and we thought we would be good at, no, our body has to deal with it at some point, and it will. Whether it puts you on your butt because you get super sick and you have to sleep for days to process it, whatever the case is, eventually we end up having to face our trauma. So somatic therapies focus on helping individuals become more attuned to their bodily sensations, which helps them foster greater self-awareness and connection. By gently guiding us to observe and release these physical sensations and patterns of holding, somatic work can help access and resolve trauma that words and talk therapy will never ever reach. Techniques like somatic experiencing or body-oriented psychotherapy, like touch therapy, focus on allowing the body to complete these defensive responses and release stored energy. Trauma often disrupts our natural breathing patterns, as I mentioned before, which is why breath work is such a good tool. When we experience trauma, it leaves us in a state of shallow or erratic breath, as you see in anxiety. And this reinforces the feelings of anxiety or overwhelm. So as we're doing stuff, if we start holding our breath or start breathing really fast, whether there's danger or not, our nervous system starts thinking that there is danger, and that's when it'll start scanning the environment. That's when it'll start throwing us through fight, flight, freeze, fawn, and it's trying to figure out where it should be, because there really isn't a danger. So it's like throwing us all over the place, right? But intentional breath work helps us to calm those sensations and help that jumping or monkey mind calm down. It promotes relaxation and helps us to release the built up tension. It helps us put space between our organs and our muscle groups. So practices like diaphragmatic breathing, holotropic breath work, yogic breath work, pranayama, all of these help us regulate our nervous system and reestablish a sense of safety and balance within our body. Same thing with, that's why we do breath work in childbirth too. So, because we're going through so much pain. And so if we're breathing and really focusing on that out breath, and we're signaling to our body that yes, we are in a lot of freaking pain right now, but we're safe and it's okay and we're not gonna die. And so that's what allows us to give birth or to get through the pain without passing out or, fighting everybody in the room. Like you see some women in the labor and delivery room, or even if you work in the ER room, when you see people who have experienced harm to their physical body and they become combative once they realize what has happened and once everything connects, and they're not mad at you. They're like, their nervous system is just like, doesn't know what to make of the experience, especially if it was a shock and, they just got shot out of nowhere or something. So movement-based therapies such as somatic movement, yoga, tai chi, qigong, all of these things encourage the body to process trauma through rhythmic and mindful movement. By moving in ways that are slow and intentional and attuned to the body's needs, we begin to restore flexibility and flow where trauma has caused restriction. Like I said, trauma causes our bodies to literally tense up. You see some people with their shoulders all the way up here and their heads are pushed back. They're literally closed off, right? So movement and doing these slow movements allows us to slowly and gradually open our bodies back up to be able to take in more, to increase our capacity to have information come at us or situations and things like that. Movement allows the body to safely express emotions as well and to complete unfulfilled actions. So like even doing a push-up helps process traumas where maybe we were helpless before and we froze, and that pushing sensation helps signal to the brain that we have completed that cycle, that we have pushed or we have the ability to push the threat away. Bridging mind and body. Trauma often creates a disconnection between the mind and body, as I've said probably a million times in this video. Somatic practices help us rebuild this bridge by bringing awareness to the present moment and to the sensations and signals of the body. This mindful attunement supports the nervous system in moving from a state of survival to one of safety and regulation. Over time, this integration of mind and body leads to greater self-awareness and emotional resilience. Like I said before, it helps us to increase our capacity to handle minor setbacks and then bigger setbacks, and to the point where things come at us and we're just like, okay, all right, this sucks, but I know I can get through this because it has information stored in the nervous system that knows that we can handle stressful situations. So that's why movement is so powerful and so important, and why it's can help us heal, is because it's a non-direct way of dealing with our triggers and our feelings of worthlessness, of our feelings of inadequacy. In essence, healing through the body allows us to reclaim our physical and emotional territory, enabling us to process trauma in a way that is both gentle and deeply transformative. Through somatic awareness, breath, and movement, we can reestablish a connection to the body, moving from a state of survival into one of thriving wholeness and presence. Healing from trauma is about reconnecting with the parts of ourselves that were lost or disconnected. When we view our responses as adaptive responses to our environment, we learn to approach ourselves with more compassion, which thus leads to approaching others with more compassion. So that is it. That is what I have for you today. Thank you so much for joining me in this discussion on trauma from a mind-body perspective, a trauma-informed lens. We covered a lot of ground in this video, and I'm sure it's going to be a super long video like all of mine are, and I apologize for that, but I do want to say that these are not just videos that I'm putting out there to try to sell you a product or to sell you my personality or anything like that. I would love to make videos where you see more of my personality and just talk about more of like my thoughts. But I think for these videos, these are educational, foundational videos for trauma recovery and for trauma-informed anything. And so these are going to be structured differently. These are more like workshops. So they're going to be long and they're going to be full of a lot of information. So if you find this type of content helpful, please consider sharing it with someone else who you think might benefit from it. Subscribing to the channel, because your support helps me acquire the resources I need to continue to create these videos. All this research that I do and all the trainings that I go to are not free. I do pay with my own money to get this education and training and the information that I provide in these videos. So by you sharing and subscribing, it helps me to monetize my videos so that you guys don't have to pay for the information directly, but big corporations get to pay me through ads and stuff. So not me promoting their products, but just the ads that pop up. I'm not here to be an affiliate. That's not what these videos are about. These videos are about providing people with the information they need to equip themselves to handle life after trauma. So thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned for the next video in this series where we will dive deeper into the neurobiology and get really nerdy in understanding trauma and how it impacts the brain and our nervous system. This will help give you a more comprehensive understanding of what's going on with you as you heal. And maybe I know for me, the more information I got, actually, the more I was able to steer myself in the right way, the direction in my healing journey. So hopefully this does the same for you. So until next time, remember to be gentle with yourself as you navigate your journey. And please remember, healing is not a step-by-step linear process. Each step you take is valuable, even if you're taking a step back. It is just your nervous system letting you know that you've met capacity and that we need to come back a little bit. And it's okay. We heal in our own time and at the rate that our nervous system allows. So take care, and I look forward to connecting with you all again in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.